Good afternoon. So yesterday night I didn't manage to do much because I was just kind of like tired. Hopefully today I'll do more. Perhaps create new containers based on the salt water and the other material, like baking soda and a little bit of carbonated drink, and of course with some more energy. And also I will rejuvenate the crucible with first of all I'll check what's inside now after like some time with the oil, and I will rejuvenate it with more material for the metal container, like wax, enriched wax. What I will also do is maybe do a specific kind of session of microscopic examination of 3 slides that I'll take from the wax container, because it's an interesting issue of its own, like to see what's inside of it. The crucible still stands. I should. Of course, maybe when I discuss the symbols regarding, the symbols of the creatures, perhaps the most important symbol was left. I didn't mention the most. Maybe I don't know. One of the more important symbols, which is of course the oil painting of the cicada. It's an oil painting of cicada that I painted in the past. It's actually a little bit of burn because it was so it's so close to the crucible, so somehow it's burned, but it's still, most of it is intact. As you know, all my oil and acrylic paintings are alien containers by their own. I've taken I've published 13 videos in this channel, and I really hope that you can watch these videos because they are very important, very interesting. 13 different oil and acrylic paintings of mine from different times, during the last 20 months, and I've taken 1 or 2 samples of each of them and watched it under the microscope, and you can always see that it contains both minerals and life forms, because both the acrylic and the oil mediums are good for are medium containers for these creatures. Maybe now with the heat, it's even more it's got some more more energy. But what I will do is, after I take I take the samples before the next fire, what I will try to do is to work more on the egg symbolism specifically. Eggs. One kind of egg symbolism is of course this one. Just the bulb, the light bulb. It looks like an egg, and it's got electricity inside it, so it means that it's alive, which is great. But there are other ways to do it. So we will do it because I do want to focus on the eggs more now, because I want to eat it. Actually, I want to to have a good sandwich with the ikra, with a metal jacket ikra. And regarding the metal jacket and themselves, what I hope is that they are, hopefully they, I wouldn't mind if they hatch from eggs that are inside the crucible. It can be very, interesting, even if I'll be able to actually see it happening, even though it's improbable, because I guess they start very small. But I would, I assume and I hope that, they are, laying eggs all over the place. You see here, we have the blue cover that symbolize the earth, and you will see the container below is kind of so yeah, hopefully we will have they don't need me. By the way, it's a very interesting question. Do I have any kind of interaction or possible interaction with these creatures? This is actually a very interesting question, because we do know that I'm the Rebel Oil Commander of the fleet, so one of the privileges is that I can communicate with all the Neros, in the solar system, at least in the solar system, if not even beyond, but at least in the solar system. That and also, I can differentiate between them. It takes some time to learn how to do it, but you can differentiate between ones that are, inside human bodies or inside metal bodies, or inside my own body, or maybe just lying on the ground or in the ocean. And you can also differentiate between planets, and I've done it in the past. I talked about it in the past how to do it. It's a very interesting issue, but let's not repeat ourselves. We spoke about it quite a bit in the past. But does it mean that I can also in any way interact with the animals that are created by the Neros? I would assume that it's not easily done. Presumably, my daughters are also created, by the Neros, because they are created by me, and my so they were made out of like me, and so it also means that they are made out of the Neros, and I don't know if I have any way to communicate with my daughters besides, unfortunately, it's very sad, but in the last 10 months I just buy WhatsApp videos. It's such a shame, and it caused me so much pain, and also it's a serious torment for them, for my daughters. So sad, but it's part of the war that Israelis are waging against the cherubs, because they are Israel. They want to fight. That's the way they are, and they don't care about the consequences. And it's so sad. It was 2 days ago that I discussed evolution. Many Christian fundamentalists reject evolution, and I think that they are misguided, because they should understand that evolution is sometimes very important mechanism, and they should just watch what's going on right now, and this is a perfect example why evolution is needed and required, and because we see that it's working, it's blessed, it's blessed like effect right now, because obviously humans in this earth they see that soon the world will be devoid of anything edible, because you do understand that any kind of insecticide or pesticide that kills the metal jackets also kills any human that will eat the food that it's placed on it. You do understand it. So very soon there will be no food in Earth, and what do? And they see, it's not a surprise, and it's kind of like a process that it's unfolding in front of their eyes, with full transparency, and I documented almost daily, for 10 months now, and what do? They all only honk their cars, and sometimes they also use their mouths and move their tongue, and sometimes they make noise using they hit stuff or break stuff, and mostly the cars honking, beep beep. And obviously these kind of creatures, they are not fit for the environment. And this is evolution. Evolution is a mechanism that makes sure that the creatures that live inside an environment fit to this environment. The survival of the fittest to specific environment, and the environment in Earth requires people that see that very soon there will be no food at all on Earth. It requires them to move arms and legs to prevent this from happening, especially since it's very easy to actually do it, but it requires movement of arms and legs. And if the dominant life form in Earth is kind of species that manifestly cannot or do not wish to move arms and legs in order to prevent the total annihilation of every kind of edible material from the earth, and they only wish to move their mouths and tongues and honk their cars, obviously there is it's a case of misfits. They are misfits. They do not fit the environment of Earth, and that's where that is exactly where and when evolution start to work, and to work in a very blessed way, in the most graceful way, I would say, because it makes sure that the sentient creatures, the dominant life forms that will exist on Earth, and I assure that humans will be replaced by other sentient creatures, they will be of the kind that move arms and legs when they see that there are almost no food. The food will soon there will be no food in Earth. They will not move their mouths and tongues and honk their car, beep beep beep. No, they will move arms and legs, or in other words, there will be a match, or they will fit the environment, and that's why evolution is needed, and it's working right now. So it's kind of like a message to fundamentalist Christians that they need to understand that God is not against evolution. God created this universe with the mechanism of evolution, because sometimes it's necessarily in order to make sure that the creatures that live inside an environment fit to this environment.